Picture this. You're scrolling through your phone, heart racing as you check for likes on your latest post. Or maybe you're replaying a conversation in your head, wondering if you said the right thing to impress someone. Sound familiar? We've all been there, tethered to the opinions of others, hoping their approval will make us feel whole. But what if I told you that the moment you stop seeking validation, something extraordinary happens? You begin to discover who you really are. Today, we're diving deep into the wisdom of Carl Jung, the brilliant psychologist who showed us how to uncover our true selves. His teachings reveal that chasing external validation pulls us away from our inner truth, and that letting it go can set us free. So grab a journal, get cozy, and let's explore what happens when you stop seeking validation from others. If this speaks to you, hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs it, and subscribe with the bell icon for more soul-stirring content like this. Let me ask you, have you ever felt like you're living for someone else's approval? Maybe it's a parent's expectations, a partner's praise, or even strangers on the internet. That weight can feel suffocating, can't it? Jung's ideas offer a way out, a path to freedom that starts within you. Let's begin by understanding why we seek validation in the first place. The roots of seeking validation. Why do we crave approval so much? It's not just about vanity or insecurity. It's rooted in our biology and psychology. From the moment we're born, we depend on others for survival. As children, we look to parents, teachers, and friends for cues that we're safe, loved, and valued. Jung believed this instinct to belong is hardwired, tied to our need to fit into the tribe. Back in ancient times, being accepted meant survival. Rejection could mean being cast out, alone, and vulnerable. But in today's world, that instinct can trap us. Social media amplifies it. Every like, comment, or follow becomes a hit of validation, a signal that we're enough. Jung would say this is the ego at work, the part of us that craves recognition. He wrote, "The first half of life is devoted to forming a healthy ego, the second half is going inward and letting go of it." When we seek validation, we're feeding the ego, building a fragile sense of self that depends on others' opinions. Think about it. How often do you feel truly at peace with yourself, without needing someone to tell you you're doing okay? If your worth hinges on external praise, you're handing over your power. Let's look at a real-world example. Meet Emma, a 30-year-old graphic designer. She was talented, but she constantly sought approval from her boss, her clients, even her Instagram followers. Every project felt like a test of her worth. If a post didn't get enough likes, she'd spiral, questioning her talent. Emma's story isn't unique. It's a mirror for many of us. So why is this so hard to break? Jung would point to the unconscious mind, the hidden part of us that drives our behavior without us even realizing it. He said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Our need for validation often stems from unconscious wounds, maybe a childhood where love felt conditional, or a fear of rejection we've carried for years. What's one moment in your life where you felt you weren't enough? Hold that thought, we'll come back to it. Carl Jung's shadow and unconscious mind. To understand how to stop seeking validation, we need to dive into Jung's core ideas, the unconscious and the shadow. Jung believed the unconscious is like a vast, hidden ocean inside you. It holds your memories, emotions, dreams, and even parts of yourself you've pushed away. It's not just a storage room. It's alive, guiding you through intuition, gut feelings, and those vivid dreams that linger when you wake up. One of the most powerful concepts Jung gave us is the shadow. The shadow is the part of you that you hide, not just from others, but from yourself. It's the traits, desires, or fears you think are unacceptable. Maybe it's your anger, your jealousy, or even your ambition. For some, it's the fear of being too much or not enough. We seek validation to keep the shadow buried, to prove we're the good version of ourselves. But Jung warned that ignoring the shadow makes it stronger. He said, "Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it becomes." Let's go back to Emma. Her shadow was her fear of failure. She hid it by overworking, seeking praise to drown out the voice that said, "You're not good enough." But that fear showed up in her dreams, nightmares of being exposed as a fraud. Jung would say her unconscious was trying to speak, urging her to face her shadow instead of running from it. Have you ever had a dream or feeling that felt like it was trying to tell you something? That's your unconscious at work. The shadow isn't just bad traits. It can also be your untapped potential. Maybe you've suppressed your creativity, your boldness, or your desire to live differently because you thought it wouldn't be accepted. Seeking validation keeps these parts locked away. Jung believed that by facing your shadow, you reclaim your power. What part of yourself have you been hiding, hoping no one notices? What would it feel like to let it breathe? Another example is James, a corporate manager who seemed to have it all. Big house, fancy car, perfect family. But he was miserable. His shadow was his longing to be an artist, a dream he buried because his family called it impractical. He sought validation through promotions and status, but his unconscious wouldn't stay quiet. He'd feel restless, snap at his kids, and have dreams of painting. Jung would say James was out of alignment, living a life that wasn't his. The power of individuation. So how do we stop this cycle? Jung's answer is individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming your true self. Individuation isn't about being perfect or successful. It's about being whole. It's about integrating all parts of yourself, the light and the shadow, the conscious and the unconscious. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." That's what individuation offers, a life where you're not performing for others, but living for you. Individuation starts with facing your shadow. This isn't easy. It means looking at the parts of yourself you've avoided. Maybe it's admitting you're resentful, or that you've stayed in a toxic relationship for approval. But Jung believed that owning your shadow brings freedom. He wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." When you stop seeking validation, you create space to explore your truth. Let's break this down. Imagine you're afraid of being seen as selfish. You say yes to everyone, even when it exhausts you. Your shadow is that selfish part that wants to prioritize you. Facing it doesn't mean becoming cold. It means recognizing that your needs matter. Ask yourself, what have you been afraid to admit about yourself? Maybe it's a dream you've shelved, or a flaw you've covered up with people-pleasing. Individuation also means listening to your unconscious. Jung believed it speaks through dreams, emotions, and synchronicities, those coincidences that feel meaningful. Have you ever met someone who triggered you, and later realized they mirrored something in you? Or had a gut feeling you ignored, only to regret it? That's your unconscious guiding you. Jung said, "The unconscious is not just evil by nature, it is also the source of the highest good." It's your inner compass for individuation. For Emma, individuation began when she started journaling her dreams. One recurring dream showed her standing alone in a spotlight, terrified but alive. She realized it was her unconscious urging her to stop hiding her talent. She started sharing her art, not for likes, but for herself. Slowly, she felt freer. What's one way your unconscious has tried to speak to you? Maybe it's a dream, a feeling, or a quiet whisper you've ignored. Individuation is also about letting go of the persona, the mask you wear to please others. Jung described the persona as the social self, the version of you that's polished and acceptable. But when you live only as your persona, you lose touch with your true self. Seeking validation strengthens the persona, making you feel like an actor in your own life. Individuation asks you to drop the mask, even if it feels scary. What mask have you been wearing? And what would it feel like to take it off? Practical steps to break free. Now let's get practical. How do you stop seeking validation and start living for yourself? Here are 5 steps inspired by Jung's teachings, designed to guide you toward individuation. Step 1. Face your shadow. Start by identifying one thing you've been hiding. It could be a fear, a desire, or a trait you're ashamed of. Write it down without judgment. For example, "I'm afraid I'll never be enough," or "I want to change careers, but I'm scared." Jung said, "What you resist persists." By naming your shadow, you weaken its hold. Try this. Every night for a week, write one thing you've avoided admitting. Notice how it feels to be honest with yourself. Step 2. Listen to your unconscious. Your unconscious is always speaking, through dreams, emotions, or intuition. Keep a dream journal by your bed, and write down anything you remember, even fragments. Don't overthink it, just let the images flow. If you don't remember dreams, notice your emotions. When you feel anxious, angry, or restless, ask, "What's this trying to tell me?" Another exercise is to write a letter to your younger self. What would you say? What does that reveal about what you need now? Step 3. Set boundaries. Validation seeking often comes from overgiving, saying yes when you mean no. Boundaries are about choosing yourself. Start small. Practice saying, "I need to think about it," or "that doesn't work for me." If someone pushes back, remind yourself, their reaction isn't your responsibility. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about making space for you. What's one boundary you could set this week? Maybe it's saying no to an extra task or taking time for yourself without guilt. Step 4. Reflect on your persona. Ask yourself, who am I trying to be for others? Maybe you're the perfect employee, the fun friend, or the strong parent. Write down 3 words that describe your persona, then 3 words that describe the real you. For example, persona: confident, polished, agreeable; real self: curious, sensitive, messy. Notice the gap. Jung said the persona is necessary, but it shouldn't define you. Try one small act that aligns with your real self, like sharing an honest opinion or doing something just for you. Step 5. Take action toward your truth. Individuation is about living authentically, even in small ways. What's one thing you've wanted to do but held back because of others' opinions? Maybe it's starting a hobby, speaking up, or changing your style. Take one step toward it. For James, the manager, it was buying a sketchbook and drawing for 10 minutes a day. It felt risky, but it reconnected him with his true self. What's one step you could take today? It doesn't have to be big, just true. These steps aren't a quick fix, they're a practice. Jung believed individuation is a lifelong journey, but every step brings you closer to yourself. Let's look at how this plays out in real life. Living as your true self. When you stop seeking validation, something shifts. You start to trust yourself. You realize your worth isn't tied to someone's praise or criticism, it's inherent. Jung said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." That's the power of individuation. You become the author of your own story. Let's revisit Emma. After facing her shadow and listening to her unconscious, she made changes. She set boundaries with clients, saying no to projects that didn't excite her. She shared her art online, not for likes, but because it felt right. Over time, she felt a quiet confidence, not the loud kind that needs applause, but the kind that comes from knowing yourself. She's still on her journey, but she's living for her, not others. Now think of James. He started small, sketching in secret, but as he embraced his shadow, his buried dream, he took bigger steps. He enrolled in an art class, despite his family's skepticism. For the first time, he felt alive, like he was finally himself. His story shows that living authentically doesn't mean appending your life. It means making choices that align with your truth. What would living as your true self look like for you? Maybe it's speaking your mind, even if it ruffles feathers. Maybe it's pursuing a passion you've shelved, or simply saying, "I'm enough as I am." Whatever it is, it starts with one choice: to stop looking outside for approval and start looking within. Here's a powerful truth. When you live authentically, you inspire others to do the same. Think about someone you admire for being unapologetically themselves. Their courage gives you permission to be you, right? By embracing your true self, you become that light for others. Jung believed that individuation isn't just personal, it's a gift to the world. As he said, "As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being." As we come to the end, let me ask you one last question. What's one thing you've been seeking validation for? Maybe it's your career, your appearance, or a relationship. Now imagine letting that go. Imagine waking up and feeling enough, not because someone told you so, but because you know it. That's the freedom Carl Jung's teachings offer, a life where you're not chasing approval, but living from your core. Here's your challenge. This week, take one small step toward your true self. Maybe it's journaling about your shadow, setting a boundary, or doing something just for you. Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear how this journey feels for you. If this video touched you, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more content to guide your path. You are enough, exactly as you are. The world doesn't need another version of someone else, it needs you. Let's stop seeking validation and start kindling that light within. I'll see you in the next video.